All right. Big mahalo to James of Indiana, who sent in this question we went over on the live show about bugs in Hawaii.
I want to move to Hawaii and eventually buy a house there, but I'm terrified of spiders. I'm asking, what would be the best place to move to in Hawaii where there are no big spiders or no spiders at all? I can deal with the very small, with the very flea or dime size one, but the big ones and the dangerous ones, I'd rather not see. Please help. Thanks.
You know, bugs are a part of nature. They're part of life in Hawaii. I mean, you can't have beautiful natural environment without having natural environment. You don't get to choose, oh, I'm just gonna have, beautiful tropical waterfalls and perfect weather all year long, but I'm not gonna have bugs. That's just not the way it is. But James got us talking about bugs. So let's start the countdown of our 5 best bug stories. Aloha, I'm Peter Kay, and I connect with people that want to live in Hawaii. So if that's you, you definitely want to subscribe to the channel and get the notifications. We send out a video every other Tuesday. So coming in at number 5 is a personal story. This happened to me, and I call it Raising Cain.
One night, I go into my bedroom, and we have a single family home on ground level, and I go into my bedroom, and there's this giant cane spider that's bigger than my hand. It's bigger than my hand, right? It's bigger than my hand, and it's on the wall. First time I saw a spider that was that big, I was like, what the heck was that? Grabbed the broom, knocked it down and took care of it.
Now I gotta tell you, bugs don't scare me, but seeing that spider the size of my hand, when I grabbed that broom, it wasn't a sweeping motion, it was a swatting weapon motion. But seriously, for folks that are afraid of bugs, Dylan had some good advice.
Well, the first thing is you have nothing to be afraid of because we don't have any poisonous spiders here. So that's the first kind of factual thing.
Now, while we don't have poisonous spiders, you should watch out for centipedes.
I would be more worried about centipedes than spiders. I mean, because they can actually sting you, and it sucks. So
there is a poison. It's not just a bite from teeth, so to speak, that hurts. There's a poisonous element to the.
Oh yeah, they do have poison.
Now bugs aren't like evenly distributed across the state. There are some areas that have more, and some areas that have less bugs.
Top story of a condo is probably your best bet. Or if you live in South Kona, like in Ocean View, where it's like lava fields, there's not as many bugs because it's dry and there isn't a lot of dirt and stuff like that, not a lot of foliage. So that may be your best bet if you want to just live in a regular house, not a condo. But you can't avoid bugs in Hawaii.
So yeah, bugs don't like lava fields. The problem is that people don't like lava fields either. Man, look at that view. We're in the backside of a neighborhood, Aina Haina, which is on the eastern side of Oahu. It's got a beautiful valley. Our next bug story happened to Scott when he was on the Big Island. Coming in at number 4, we've got Sleeping Beauty and the Beast.
I'll tell you a story. When I was living on the Big Island, my back was killing me. For some reason, I had the mattress on the floor, and I went to sleep, and I was at a house, and I was sleeping on the floor, and I woke up, and I was like, ow, what is that? It stung me. And then it did it again, and I finally got up, and it was a centipede about the size of my hand that happened to somehow get into my bed and stung me twice. Oh man, I felt violated because I was asleep. I got attacked without having any preparation.
Now, everyone in Hawaii has their favorite cockroach story, and I think this one brings back some good old memories for me. Coming in at number 3 is Bug Me in My Sleep.
My brother was visiting, and we're staying in the same room, so we're sleeping on the same bed. And it's the middle of the night, and I'm asleep, and it's one of these things where I'm completely asleep, but I'm somehow conscious, and I feel a cockroach crawling over my body, right? And so I feel the cockroach kind of crawling over my body, and I say, oh, wow, kind of in the back of my head, I'm asleep, but I'm somewhat conscious. I'm, oh, wow, there's a cockroach. And then a second or two later, I hear, oh, man, Dad is swearing and everything, cussing and swearing because the cockroach went over my brother, who was like, at that time, new to cockroaches. And it was just kind of hilarious to kind of, be like in this weird state where I'm half asleep, half awake, and bam, cockroach kind of crawls across me and ends up on my brother, and my brother goes crazy.
You know, the weirdest thing about that story is that I was fully asleep. Yet when that bug sort of crawled over me, I was like somehow conscious, and I was like, oh man, this bug's gonna go over me, it's gonna go over my brother next. And sure enough, it did. Now, what happens when you mix a bunch of little girls with what we call these flying B-52 cockroaches? Coming in at number 2, we've got the B-52s.
My nieces, my brother and my nieces were visiting from the mainland, and this is and I've got 2 girls, and they were at this time they're all about the same age, and they're all kind of around 8-year-old range. So my daughters are used to bugs in Hawaii because they were born and raised here. My nieces aren't used to it. So we're all sitting on big family thing. We're sitting down and we're watching a movie, right? Watch a movie on our big screen TV, and while we're in the middle of the movie, a giant B-52 cockroach walks across the middle of the screen, right in front of everybody. And of course, my nieces start screaming. They start screaming, and so the light goes on, and this roach is walking across that they've never seen before. As the roach is slowly walking across the screen, when we turn on the light, the roach freaks out and opens up its wings and starts flying around. And now now my daughters are starting to scream because the other are starting to scream. So I got four screaming girls running around the house being chased by a flying roach.
Now, if you can imagine what it's got to be like to be in a room with 4 little girls running all over the place with a giant cockroach buzzing in the room. But you know what? I guess that screaming at cockroaches is not limited to little girls, as Scott shared with us something that happened to him with one of his friends.
And I didn't realize how scared he was of cockroaches. And the cockroaches came into the condo, and it started to fly around, and the lights were on, and he started screaming at the top of his lungs. He jumps up on the couch, and he won't go anywhere near it. I was laughing. I could hardly even deal with the cockroach. I was laughing at him so hard.
Now, our last bug story happened on the Big Island with our friend Dylan, who serves in the armed forces. Coming in at number 1, we've got the undercover bug.
This is my second son was just born, maybe like a month or 2, and he's in the bed with us. And my wife had felt something like brush across her foot in the bed, and she looked and lifted up the covers and looked, and there was a centipede in the bed. So she of course grabs the baby, jumps out, hits me, wakes me up, says, "Get out of the bed! There's a centipede!" And I proceed to start taking the bed apart, and so I take the covers off, take the sheets off, take off all the pillows, and I can't find this centipede. And it's like 1:00 in the morning, and of course we're not going back to sleep until we find this thing because it's got to be somewhere. And I deconstruct the whole bed, take the mattress off, take the box spring off, and we had picture frames like stacked underneath the bed stored, and I start taking these off one by one, and this thing is on the second to the last picture frame. Like somehow it had gotten down and hid in this picture frame. So I finally found it, and it was like 6 inches long. It was this big, huge centipede in the bed with us. Crazy.
Now, if you've ever seen a centipede, you'll know why they're hard to kill.
The thing you want to use against centipedes is tongs, because you need to grab them and hold them. Because if you hit them with a shoe or something like that, they'll just like pop up and like they just keep going. It's really hard to kill them. So you kind of have to grab them with something and then cut their head off or throw them in the toilet and flush them down the toilet or something. But you can't physically. I mean, they're really tough creatures.
They've got that armor. There's like armor around there.
You can't hit them with a newspaper or something. It's not. No,
yeah,
not gonna work.
That exoskeleton will protect them. All right.
So what about you? What about you and bugs? You got any bug stories? Give me your favorite bug stories in the comments. Got a question for me? In the comments, I got a link to a form. Fill out the form, leave us your name and where you live so I can give you credit. I'm Peter Kay, and I'm living in Hawaii with the bugs. Aloha.